Yeah, Scott came with the Courier Journal. Just you guys had your scrimmage today. Just kind of takeaways from that. Anybody surprise you, impress you? Things from the scrimmage.
Yeah, we did. We had our scrimmage today. It's practice number 6. So I think probably maybe just a day or two early for a full scrimmage, but we went ahead and did it. And I thought it was good. I thought overall good energy. I think it did come at a time where where guys were ready to tackle, and because it's the first day that we went full gear and live tackling. Probably ran close to 135, 40 plays today. We worked 3 different groups, so 1s, 2s, and 3s all got reps today. We worked a little bit in the special teams, not a ton, but field goal PAT, punt team, and a little bit of kickoff team. So those were the 3 phases that we looked at, and but I thought overall it was a good day. I thought the defense is ahead of the offense at this point, which I think early in camp usually that's what happens. But I did like the way our one unit looked on defense. Yabi looked good today and quick off the ball. We all know he's got great size, but he's playing fast right now. That was good to see. I thought our inside linebackers, CJ and Monty, played really well, are running fast and fitting downhill, which is great to see. I think at safety right now we're looking. Q Cole is safety with Duncan. Those 2 guys are looking good back there in the first unit as safety. Which really helped. Chandler Jones started out at the corner on one side. And, he looked good today as well. Trey Clark was on the other side. So I think that first unit, man, was pretty good defensive unit. And then I thought overall, Cunningham looked good today. Took care of the ball, made good decisions, ran it when he needed to run it. So he did some good stuff with that as well. I think just overall, I thought it was a good, solid day for our first scrimmage. Obviously, a lot of film to look at to go back to it. It's hard to speculate and see now if you're just running that many plays, standing on the sideline to know. But I thought overall energy was good, and I saw a lot of good things and things that we can certainly coach off of.
Scott, after the first week, where does the running back situation stand? You pleased with it?
Yeah.
Has there been a leader?
Yeah, I think the leader is Mitchell. He's very solid, very dependable. He's good all around back as far as running the ball. If there is a weakness in him, it's the long speed. It's the just taking it 70, 80 yards for a touchdown. We saw that in the Wake Forest game last year. But he runs hard between the tackles. He made a couple good runs today. Protects well, can catch the ball out of the backfield. I thought he did good. I think, Cooley looked really good today. This is the first time, I guess, since the spring. We've seen him in live contact, and he looked really good. He's got a different kind of burst. Cooley does with a guy who's probably about 206, 207, so he's a decent sized running back with good burst. I thought he did some good things today, and we're pretty deep there. You got Berkeley, who started last year a game or 2. I think Hassan Hall ran hard today, did some good things as well at the running back position. I mean, there's 4 of them right there, and then Aiden ran the ball good today. So we have some guys there that I think we'll be able to shuffle some guys in the game. Will it be one guy? I don't know. I think that still remains to be seen. I think right now, if we had to ask me press that up, we're going to play several guys at the running back position and see who's really feeling it, and as we get through the game.
Scott, I think you had 5 interceptions last year as a team, and nobody had more than 1. Is that a function of playing maybe too soft, or is there a ball awareness issue? How do you want to address that?
Yeah, obviously we want to get more takeaways. I think if you go back and watch, I think we dropped 7 interceptions last year that were right in the guys' hands. So, getting on the jugs machine would help for sure. But that's one thing. So we had opportunities last year to get more interceptions defensively, and the guys just did not catch the ball. So, matter of fact, that it happened again today. There was at least one opportunity where a guy had it and he dropped it. So, you got to make the plays when they're there to be made. And we have the guys capable of doing it. I do think we at times you have to tighten the coverage down in order to get some more opportunities like that. But also the offense will give you chances, and you got to take advantage of them. I think Trey Clark yesterday's practice made a nice interception in the end zone. We threw a fade ball at Justin Marshall, who's a lot bigger than him, and he went up and got it, made a play on it. That's what it takes. You got to be aggressive and go make those plays. So yeah, it's certainly been an emphasis for us this year defensively, is getting takeaways.
Scott, you mentioned last week so many newcomers through the first week. How have they kind of, obviously not progressed, but just kind of in practice? I mean, was it difficult the first week with so many guys that are new?
It is. You got a lot of guys. You want to see them get in there and get opportunities, and so we're trying to do a lot of different rotations as far as getting them in, getting them reps. And some guys are going to want more reps because they feel like, man, I only got 3 or 4 reps. I didn't really get a chance to show what I have. And I think that's hard. I think especially for a young player, because a lot of these guys, the ones that we recruited and signed, they expect to come in here and contribute right away, and which some of them will. But they have to be a little bit patient with that. They can't, just can't come in day one, all of a sudden everything's going to be great. I mean, you're going to have to, get a few reps here, make the best of it so you gain more reps. And so that's one of the hardest things, I think, for young players to really fully understand. It takes a little bit of time in order to get more reps, to start cracking a line up, And yeah, I mean, and not only those guys, we had a bunch of other guys as well. That we had some guys that just came out for the first time, some walk-on guys. So yeah, and I think like a day like today, we ended up we got those guys probably 18, 20 plays in live reps, and now we can get to go coach off of that, and maybe get a guy move up or two and get a little bit more reps. So, but that's just going to take time, I think, with the young guys, and really there'll be guys that really are probably buried in the depth chart game 1, but by game 6 or 7. They've already been there, and they're starting to play. We see that every single year. We try to prep them for that and tell them to pay attention, because you're going to get an opportunity, a chance, but you got to make the most of it when you do get that chance.
Jerry Tipton, Lexington Hero leader. How much do you think turnovers handicapped you guys last year, especially with Malik?
Yeah.
And how do you address that? What's
Yeah.
your expectation for this year?
Yeah, well, turnovers is a funny thing. You talk about them all the time, then you get guys playing tentative. So you have to be able to cut loose and play. So there's a fine line with that. We have been stressing it all off season. We know that. We know that was a big concern of ours last year, and was a reason we didn't finish out games that we should have done last year. So we've been working on it in practice. Every day we do a turnover circuit, and we're working both sides, because we didn't create enough turnovers either. It's real easy to say, we turned the ball over. We didn't create enough turnovers, so it goes hand in hand. So we're really working both of those things in practice. Today, I was trying to think if we had, out of 135, 40 reps, I don't think we had a turnover today. We didn't have any today. So that's good on the offense. It's not good on the defense, So. But we have stressed it. Obviously, we know that is a huge part. You can manipulate stats. You can spin them a lot of different ways, but the turnover margin is one of the most critical stats there is. The analytics say, you don't turn the ball over, you create more, you're going to win over 75% of your games. So, you have to take care of the football, and again, that is an emphasis.
Scott, Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. Over in the wide receiver room, is there someone who's starting to separate themselves from everyone else, or do you think at this point that unit is going to be mainly kind of spread out and sort of wide receiver by committee? Well,
no, I think we got a pretty solid group, the first group. I think Braden Smith is a guy who's played a ton for us, started last year. He's certainly going to play a ton for us. Justin Marshall's had a really good camp. He's matured a lot. He's come into his own. We've talked a lot about Tyler Harrell. He's a guy who hasn't played much football, so when the lights come on, how's he going to be? That's going to be something we're going to have to watch and see, but he certainly has the ability, and he made some plays today as well. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be playing for us. I think those guys right there, kind of your main guys. I think, Shy Wertz will be in the mix. Huggins, as a newcomer, will be in the mix. He can do a lot of things. He's a dynamic with his legs. So Marshawn Ford, we talked about, is going to be a lot more involved in the passing game. So I think we're going to have our core guys, and then we'll see J.J. Johnson. Josh Johnson's has a great camp for us. He's got played late in the year last year. Watkins is another guy that played late in the year last year that's had great experience. So I think there's 6 or 7 core guys that are going to be our receivers, and now how we dial them up as far as, getting the ball to them will be something that we do once we start game planning. But it'll be within those 6 or 7 guys. That's going to be our guys for this year.
Rick Bozich, WDRB. I know that Tyler Harrell's got some attention from the freaks list, and you've talked about him a bunch because of his speed. why hadn't he gotten on the field much the last 2 years or caught any passes? And what have you seen from him that convinces you he can transform the speed into productivity?
Well, I think, first of all, we had some good players ahead of him, last couple of years, and he's a guy that's he has been one of the hardest workers in the offseason. So he's one of these guys that has developed. It didn't happen right away. He was a track guy, fast guy, and now you have to transition into a football guy. And he's done that over this offseason. So he's one of these guys that just worked his way into these positions now to where he's going to get opportunity. Now it's going to be up to him to make the plays. We can call these plays and try to get him isolated and lined up for certain scenarios to where he can have a chance. Well, then he's got to make the play. What we've seen in the last 6 months is that he's willing and able and capable of making those plays. And so, but it is a big difference between when the lights come on and it's game time and you have to go make the play. So we'll see how he acts. I got all the confidence in the world in him. I think he'll make those plays. I think he's going to be a guy where teams are going to have to know where he is. And it's going to be up for them to cover him. I mean, and then if they double him, that's going to free up somebody else. So he's got to be a guy that's got to be in the mix with that kind of speed, athleticism. He understands our offense, but he has worked himself into this position, and I think that's why all of a sudden now it's his time to shine. I mean, it's Tyler Harrell's time. So.
Scott, what's the challenge, of bringing this culture back after a losing season compared to when you took over? And that, I mean,
Yeah.
do you kind of go back to the same things you did before to kind of keep guys dialed in and committed, or has it changed?
Yeah, last year, we missed all that time, and part of what we wanted to do and want to do is to spend time with our guys. I mean, there's you can't just spend time with these guys just on the practice field and in the meeting rooms. I mean, you got to do other things with them. They have to know that you care about them, not just because they can run fast or block or tackle. They have to know that you care about them personally and just hanging out, and you get that by having them over your house or by doing things with them. And I think we missed that part last year. That was huge for us. We've been able to come back and do a lot of those things. I think we grew up a lot last year as a football team with all the things we had to go through, not just on the football field, but all the other things as well. And then when they came back after Christmas, and it was just a different mentality with these guys. We had a great offseason as far as with our leadership team. We met every week, all spring and summer. We met every week with our leadership guys, and that's been huge for us. I think we've grown a lot closer. That particular group, with myself and B. Brown and Stu Holt and Coach Mike and Matt Summers, and we're all involved with that group. And I think we're just in a good spot culturally. I think with our guys, I think that's going to be big for us, because this game comes down to the fine points of the little things. When you get to a fourth quarter. Obviously, turnovers are a big part of that, but there's other little things, I think, that happen throughout the course of a game that enable you to somehow get a win, because it's so tight. I mean, it's such a close game, most of the time. So I think that's been a big difference for us this year, is that part of it. So, yeah, a lot of the things that we did the first year we were able to do this year, and I think that should pay dividends for us in the fall.
Scott, earlier in the week, Coach Bicknell said that he thinks this offensive line could be one of the best he's ever coached, but we'll see if it materializes out on the football field. What's your assessment of this unit, first off, and secondly, do you agree with his assessment?
Well, I think this unit, when you look at the starters or the guys that's been here, I mean, Cole Bentley's been here for about 10 years, I think. I mean, he's been here a long time. So he's played a lot of football. Caleb Chandler has played a ton of football. Adonis Boone, Ronaldo Brown. I mean, those four guys right there, they've been starting ever since I've been here, and at times have done a great job, and held their own. And so against some really good defensive line. I mean, I was watching the NFL game last night, a couple of guys we played against last year. I mean, so they've done a great job. And then on top of that, then you add some of the depth that we've been able to create over the last couple of years. And I think that, as an O-line coach, I think is reassuring to know, hey, man, we got about 8 guys we feel like can rotate and play. And that gives you a great chance. If you have an offensive line and defensive line that are pretty solid and pretty good, then it gives you a chance to win some games, because if you win in the trenches, it goes a long way. To the second part of that is that I don't know. I've only been around Coach Big this year, so I don't know what he's coached. I don't know how you can compare him to other O-lines he's had. I'll take his word for it that this is one. I do know this. We have some great size up front. We have some athletic linemen, and we have some guys with experience. You know, you put all those things together. I like where we are, you know, with that group collectively. And it's exciting to watch them play because they, you know, as an offensive line, you got 5 playing as one, and that's what you have to have. And I feel good about that first unit.
Scott, you mentioned the secondary a little bit for the scrimmage. As an offensive coach, when you look at what you guys have secondary-wise, what about the secondary kind of would scare you as an offense?
Yeah.
What impresses you the most about it?
Well, I think with the guys in the secondary, they're fundamentally their techniques are really, really good now. You know, this defense takes a little bit of time, and I say time. It takes a year, 2 years in order for the guys to fully understand what Coach B is trying to get done over there. You know, and again, Chandler Jones has played a bunch of ball. Trey Clark, you know, just got here last year, but is an outstanding player. Duncan's been in this defense, and he understands what we're trying to do. And I think just their skill set of what we're able to do. And they're talented players. I mean, they can run, they can tackle, they can cover. I mean, you know, and then they're able to do a lot of different things. You know, it's not just one defense out there. I mean, we're seeing a lot of different looks, which makes it hard or difficult as your play caller and as a receiver to understand what's on the other side of there. Are they playing man? Are they playing cover 3? Is it some sort of 2 shell back there? You know, what are they trying to do? And I think you're able to do a lot of different things with these guys with experience. And I think that's on top of that, they're talented. So you put those 2 things together, it makes it difficult to try to move the ball.
Hey, Scott.
Yep.
Tyler Griever from WHAS. You've talked about Marshawn Ford having an expanded role this year. How would you describe his journey from being a walk-on to a guy who's a major part of this offense now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing about Marshawn is he just works every day. He never says anything to us and never has, never complained. He just comes in and works. Wherever we've put him, he's been willing and able to do it. You know, from the day one when we first got in here, we thought, man, we can use this guy in our offense as that H-back and, you know, and do a lot of things with him. And the last 2 years we've been able to do it. And then as you watch him play over the last couple of years, man, he's so talented with the ball in his hands. He's kind of like a receiver. And then he's also kind of like a running back because of his size. He's got great hands, but he's 225, 230, and he can break tackles. And, you know, this year, you know, we're like, man, let's leave him on the field a little bit more. Now the defenses have to look at him and say, all right, what personnel group is this? You know, is he going to be in the box? Is he going to be out wide? We're moving him around a lot more, so that's going to, you know, make the defense have to do a little bit more preparation as far as the looks that we're going to give him. And he's capable of doing everything, you know, as far as, you know, blocking, running. He's a great hybrid type player, you know, and we want to continue to utilize him and put pressure on the defense.
Coach, there were reports yesterday about an alliance involving the ACC and 2 other conferences. What is your understanding about how far along that's gone, and what do you see as the benefits of that, particularly given the expansion of the SEC?
I really don't know anything about it other than I just saw it out there like everyone else yesterday. It's the first thing I've heard. I mean, I know this summer we've heard a lot about the different things that could happen. I think until something does happen, that it's all speculation. You know, even with the Texas-Oklahoma, until they did finally come out that they are going to the SEC, you know, you don't really know that they are until it actually comes out and said they're doing it. So there's a lot of things I think could happen out there, but it'd all be speculative. So I don't know.
What would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see the Louisville Cardinals win a lot of games because then I don't have to worry about the rest of that.
It's Scott in the back. I guess when you're bringing in newcomers and trying to get ready for the season, you know, you've had a scrimmage in fall camp. When do you start to transition into, you know, getting ready for game 1?
Usually probably 10 to 12 days out, you know, once we get close to that. We got a lot of ball left we got to put in, and we're not anywhere near where we're with the things we have to put in right now, you know, just day 6, you know, so we don't start school for another, you know, probably another 9 days now, so 8 days. So we got a lot of ball we got to put in, a lot of things we got to teach, correct, get better at. You know, what's fun is just being out there on the field and watching the guys do it. You know, we talk about being 1% better every day, and, you know, a guy not making the same mistake again twice in this, you know, 2 back-to-back days. So today was great film. We're going to be able to get that film, go back and critique and see, you know, what guys need to be working on and what we need to be doing better. One of the things like we always do when we scrimmage like this as an offense coach, we don't game plan our defense. I mean, we're running plays. I want our guys just to be able to react to what they're seeing. And that's a little frustrating, I think, sometimes as an offensive coach because, you don't hit as many plays as you want to, but we're just running plays, and I want to see how the defense reacts. So, but it was great to see today, offense, defense competing, and, man, it was so much great film to coach off of.
Coach.
Scott, I know you said you only did a little bit of special teams today, but obviously, do you have any clarity on what the punting situation might be yet for this year?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a new one. I do know that. Mock, as he says, his name is Mark, but he says Mock because he's from Australia. That's a terrible Australian accent, by the way. But he's fun to talk to. So if you guys get a chance to talk to him, like he's got a strong Australian accent, and he's a grown man. I think he turns 25. He's going to be 25? Yeah, he's going to be 25. He's already bought a house or had a mortgage and sold it. I mean, this guy, he's a freshman. This guy's like he's an old guy, very mature. He's got a leg though, I can tell you that. He can punt it, and it's fun. I mean, I just kind of smile, during practice when I watch him punt and I'm hitting the hang time, and it's 5 seconds or something. It's like, man, this guy. I'm glad he flew all the way over here from Australia. So, yeah, he punted today and had some great punts. JT kicked field goals today, did a great job as well. I think he missed one field goal today out of all the PATs and field goals that he kicked, which was several. So, I feel like special team wise, man, we're gonna be good this year. Special teams. I mean, I think overall we got some really good team speed. It's gonna be a lot of competition to who gets on the teams, and then when you actually look at the kickers and the punters themselves. They're going to be pretty good. I mean, JT, to me, is one of the better ones out there. I think he missed 2 last year, and they were both over 50. He's kind of an underrated field goal kicker, in my opinion. He doesn't get a lot of notoriety, but he's one of the better ones. And then Mark coming in, I think he'll really help us in the net punting. I mean, last year we were not very good. I think maybe 36, 37 yards net. Or we should be over 40 this year in net punting. I mean, that, and over the course of a game, that makes a huge difference. Well, we lost field position battles last year. And at the same time, and then you turn the ball over, and then, now your record's what it is. I mean, so you win some field position battles, you take care of the ball, then you give yourself a great chance to be in the game at the end to go win it.
Time for 2 more there, and then Joey. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat first. Sorry, Pat.
Appreciate you, Ron. Thank you. Scott, I know it's early in camp, but has there been a moment or a story that kind of sticks out to you that made you feel like things are starting to click with this football team?
Well, I just like the way our guys are practicing. One of the things we talk about in practice is practice like a pro, meaning stay up, take care of each other. And I've been seeing that. To me, it's even though we do have a lot of young guys, I've been seeing a lot more of that because the leadership of our team demands that. And the guys are taking care of each other, yet at the same time, they're getting a lot out of practice. I think just overall, that feel and that sense is outstanding. When we have our team meetings at night, I mean, it's easy to talk to them. I can talk to our team. It's just like we're sitting in a living room, and it's, very attentive, and you just feel like it just feels like it should feel because of the leadership of our football team. And I think that's, as a coach, I mean, that's encouraging, and that's what you want.
Coach, you've had a lot of transfer portal activity. How has that affected the number of incoming high school prospects that you're planning to sign this cycle? You got 6. What's the number looking like for high school?
Yeah, I think everybody's had a lot of transfer portal activity, not just us. And I think that's going to be the case every year. This year is going to be a little bit different because they're not going to allow us to not count the super seniors. So as you look at it, this is across the country. The teams next year, after this season's over, who's going to come back and take that extra year? Like, we don't know. Like, nobody knows at this point who's going to come back. So if you have 10 guys that could come back and they decide to come back, well, there's 10 less guys you can go sign because you can't have over 85. So if they decide that they're not going to play anymore, well, there's 10 extra scholarships right there. So it's a guessing game for everybody in the country. It's a guessing game. And that part of it is extremely challenging. The most challenging thing right now is the number of initials that we have, which is 25. What if a team, it could be any team, loses 20 to 25 guys in the transfer portal and the seniors don't come back, but you only have 25 initials? How are you going to stay 85 scholarships? You're not. And this is going to be a problem throughout college football unless something happens. Something's got to happen with this. This is one of the things, and I hadn't heard many people talking about it, but that's going to be a big problem is roster management with not enough initials. So, it's hard to say how many we're going to take. I mean, really, I guess that's my answer. I mean, it's going to be hard. Yeah, I mean, it could be around 10, 12, roughly, I mean. Yeah, well, I'm saying total. Yeah, I mean, because you just, and you're not going to turn down great players either. I think that. So, I mean, that number could be different. I just think it's tough. It's hard to know how many you can. I mean, yeah, would we like to go try to find 20, 25 high school players and get them committed? Yes. But then, is that going to be feasible? Probably not. You're probably not going to have that many scholarships. So we're trying to weigh that balance. And then also there'll be transfers that you can go get to help your team. I mean, you look at every team throughout the country this year. I'm looking at, our 2 starting safeties right now just came in this last semester. So, Brian Hudson, who's a guy who I consider a starter up front. I mean, he came in last semester. I mean, so, you can help your team out with the transfer portal as well coming in. So, it's just it's a fine line there. So we're going to try to weigh the balance of 10 to 12 high school players, and then we'll see where we are.
Scott mentioned one of those guys. You mentioned Cole earlier. Last week when we first saw him the first time, he looks the part.
Yeah, he does.
What has he brought this week, and how do you see him kind of helping the defense?
Man, number one, he's a great human being. I love being around him. He's just got the right demeanor. He comes in, he just works. He doesn't say a whole lot, and then you talk to him. We beat him on a play in practice on just a little tight end pop pass. And he had a man. I went up to him and said, "Hey, Q, welcome to Louisville football." Because we hit this on most of our safeties, and he just started laughing. He's like, "You're not going to hit me again," and that's just his mentality. We woke up today a little under the weather today, and he's like, "You ain't keeping me off this field." I mean, so he went out and got every rep today, and special teams. I mean, so that tells you a little bit about him. We haven't been around him much, but that tells me what I need to know about him. You can count on him. He's going to be one of those guys that he's going to give you everything he has. He's going to be here, and you're right. He looks the part. Like, he looks like a linebacker. I mean, he's so big and jacked up, but yet he can run, he can cover. I love his demeanor. He's a great addition to our team and our defense. So I'm awesome that he's here. Is that it? All right. Thanks, guys.